Hello and welcome to Weekly Geek Speak and Happy New Year. I'm Andrew.
I'm Scott.
And I'm Steve.
We are a weekly geekly podcast in your ears once more for another year. Yes, you got us again. I hope you enjoyed our special quest last week. It was a noisy affair with hungry hippos and Steve putting things in his mouth.
Not much is new, is it?
Did you have a good New Year's?
Yeah, it's alright.
What did you do?
It's alright. I went to my mate's house for a party.
We have a party. Did you get it on down?
A party. It has an A in it.
Party.
Not an up. There was someone at the party who brought their Christmas present, and it was It was called a selfie stick.
Oh, for fuck's sake! I've seen those be used.
Yeah.
It's basically just an extended device to take a selfie.
Yeah.
Now. And then I went to them. I went, I'm not being funny, but it's quite a funny novel gift. I get it.
Yeah.
But whenever there's a third person, is it the most completely defunct device in the universe?
At a party as well, you're gonna find someone to take that picture.
There were loads of us. Huh. There were no issue. She's like, yeah, but it's really good, isn't it? And I'm like, oh. This is why society. This is why me and society don't. Me and life don't quite.
Well, I saw it in by dancing to Miley Cyrus 4x4, and away we go.
Yeah,
it's good. On Just Dance.
Did you
2015?
Oh, were you with him?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
By invite, get lost or just?
I didn't know I was seeing Steve. So
no, I didn't. It was a really random. James came over to mine for a bit, and and then we ended up at James.
Oh, really last minute.
I was planning on doing nothing, so I don't really care.
Yeah.
All right.
There was not really a plan.
And then
they're the best night. It's just another night, isn't it?
I think we'd all had the kind of same idea of not really doing anything, and then we all happened.
It's just another night, but you're just more prone to introspection.
Well, last year I went to a party, and it was an all gung ho New Year. You were that one as well, and it was just a bit too mental for me. I'm too old for that kind of shit now. Everyone got far too drunk. I got far too drunk, and I ended up barfing the New Year in, which isn't ideal, is it? So I thought I'd go a bit more sensible and danced around to girly pop songs. Which is more me, to be honest.
Well,
it's definitely more me.
Sign off how you live the year.
Yeah, exactly. Start as you mean to go on.
Well, you can find us at Weekly Geek Speak on Twitter. We're on Facebook, Weekly Geek Speak, and we are also on Podcast Land, iTunes, Stitcher, and Spreaker. So do check us out and do give us a review if you enjoy us. Thank you, everyone who sent their Christmas Day geeky pictures.
Yes.
Lovely.
Awesome to see all the cool gifts you got. What was the best ones you guys got?
I'm quite boring when it comes to Christmas because I just want to make. I'm always scared to death of not having anything to open, so I try not to ask for anything big. To make sure I've got loads to open, and then I usually just catch up on all the sort of reads, watches, and listens I've been meaning to buy, and the odd play I've been meaning to buy through the year. So I'm quite boring. Got Football Manager, ton of books, ton of DVDs. Nothing really to a wallet. Nothing really to nothing random, cool or novel to picture worthy. I'm afraid.
Yeah, I got practical stuff for pyjamas and chocolates. Though my mum had knitted me a fox. It was really cool. And then I got back on my housemate. Got me a fox mug, and a Darth Vader bottle opener. Which
do you like foxes, Steve?
A little bit.
Do you?
It seems to have become a thing. Oh, right. Not sure how that happened.
It'd be hilarious if you didn't. You just really
just like, yeah.
Do you know, like when you go around to like your family's house for dinner and they're like, you love cabbage, don't you?
Remember that time?
Because that one time you didn't object to having it, so everyone now has it in their mind you love it. Is that what happened with you and foxes? And now you just play up to it.
No.
You once just went, oh, foxes are alright. And now everyone's like, do you know Steve?
He likes foxes.
Gonna get him.
No, I love it. It's great. There are a lot of fox-related items in my house, though. I was tempted to get them all together and take a picture. But here...
I assume we've all watched a lot of Christmas films.
Yeah.
Are we going to go with them, or are we going to go with something else? Let's find out as we play Recommend Decommend. Steve, explain for any new listeners, or anyone with Alzheimer's who may have forgotten, like Scott, what is...
You know what? Slowly, I think my memory's getting better.
You seem a lot more on it today.
Thank you. Was I not?
You're not walking in the garden with your pants around your ankles this time. We had to drag you in.
Yeah. You know what? I'd be inclined... If you'd said that last time on here, I'd probably believe you.
Yeah. You were genuinely getting a bit concerned, weren't you?
Yeah.
So, Steve, what's Recommend Decommend?
Recommend Decommend is when we bring all the films we've watched since we last recorded, and we pitch our highest rated film and vote for it as the recommend, and then we pitch our lowest rated film for our Decommend.
It's a new year.
It is.
It's a fresh slate. So let's see what Scott's bringing to the table. This is number one recommend of the year.
You're going to start with me because I've been desperately trying to remember what I've watched for the last 2 minutes.
So you forgot to write films?
No, but this is quite natural forgetfulness, not the concerning. I've had entire conversations and don't remember them. There's one that we're going to talk about a lot next week, and we've talked about a lot last year, so I might get rid of that.
Screwed up out the window.
A lot of kids' family films and Christmas films, but again, I feel like we've covered most of the things I watched to death.
So you got to find a little gem in there.
Yeah,
rummage around.
I did watch Frozen again, though.
I didn't add that to my list.
Which is, I'm pretty sure that is tied with Guardians, which I've watched 4 times since I last saw you, as probably the most film I've seen in a year, with Dark Knight Rises, with 4 or 5. I've never seen a film more than that in a single year. Okay, fuck it. Batman Returns. I watch it every Christmas because it's a Christmas set Batman film, and it's my favourite pre-Nolan Batman film. It's very strong, it's very thematic, very operatic, and it's more of a Tim Burton film than a Batman film and all those other accusations levelled, but I personally think it's a very strong Catwoman, a very strong Penguin, and a very strong Batman film if you just accept it as a different take, and Tim Burton's Elseworlds take, and not be too sort of sensitive about it all, because Batman's rife for interpretation. I love that interpretation. It's really graphic novel-y and macabre and dark and operatic, but comic book goofy at the complete same time. I watch it every year and I love it to pieces.
Cool.
Batman
Returns.
Batman Returns.
So I go next, and I've watched a lot of films. I think I'm on 26 or something. I'm chucking out all the Christmas films for one. And there were some good 8s in here as well. I'm going for one that maybe wasn't the best film I saw technically, but one I really enjoyed. And after watching a spate of B-movies that I haven't really cared for very much, I feel the B-movie thing is getting a bit franchised now with your Sharknadoes, your Ghost Sharks, your things. I find them a bit dull. But one that really hit the right spot for me, and I do love films like this. I do, like Father's Day and things. You know I love a bit of crappy B-movie kind of junk cinema. It's fantastic. And I was bought Wolf Cop for Christmas, and Wolf Cop is exactly
the
what
thing
it
is
says.
With these films, sometimes they really do sell you on a name. Because I heard that and I just went, that can't not be good.
Yeah.
Well, it really is like, but then again, there's one that might come up and Decommend for similar reasons. It told me on the name, but the film didn't deliver. Wolf Cop does. I mean, there's not much to it. It's about a cop who turns into a werewolf, but it's really fun.
Really?
Yeah, believe it or not, you know. But it's really funny. It's low budget, but it's got that fantastic essence and heart of what a B movie should be for me. It's not doing it for the sake of anything else other than that film wanted to be made.
Do you hear the sort of the way like the sci-fi channels sort of trying to franchise
the franchisedness of B movies kind of bores me.
It misses that charm and soul and indie spirit. And
it's the indie spirit. The fact that these filmmakers go out to make these films knowing that they will probably make a loss, but they're doing it for the love of the film, the love of stupid, over-the-top, wacky horror, which completely crosses boundaries, but in turn makes a great entertaining film, and doesn't just go, I'm going to fuse a lobster with a tree trunk and call it Trelobster. It's boring. If I sold you on that one as well.
Can we get that patent before this goes out? Because
Wolf Cop, it's great. And the transformation scenes. I mean, the first thing you see transform on him is his dick. It's the kind of stupid humour that it goes with, but it's not too over the top with that humour. It's not. It's a horror movie as well as a comedy. The comedy doesn't overpower it. It's still got great things. It's completely ridiculous, but such a joy to watch. Turn your brain off, stare at the screen, and enjoy yourself. It's got good effect, a funny storyline. It's completely ridiculous, and it's just the kind of B movie I like.
Can I just? I love all that. Can I just stop you? We're all wearing these like really discount Power Ranger masks that Steve's bought us, and then we've moved them to the top of our heads. But Andrew's got the blue one, and because it's on top of his head that way, he looks like a Thunderbird. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, he does.
He really looks like a Thunderbird.
So yeah, Wolf Cop. Do go check it out. But that's my pitch. So it goes to Steve. What's your recommend?
Cool. Like you, I managed to squeeze in a fair few films, 2 of which I left out. But yeah, 24. You just pipped me. 25 if I had Frozen.
I'm sure my number's somewhere in that region. I've not written them down. Okay,
it has been about 3 weeks.
Yeah,
4 weeks since
I'm just amazed I managed to cram in.
It's the longest we've ever gone.
Yeah.
For a long time. Yeah.
I'm going to throw Tusk in there. Was my recommend. One that I'd heard about for quite a while because Kevin Smith's been on about it on the podcast, and it seemed to be made in no time at all. It just seemed to be sort of talk about it. Oh, it's coming out, and it was out. We got it a lot later than everyone else, but I just think as a concept, I liked the way it was filmed. I thought it was well directed. I thought the conversations were very Kevin Smith. It built on the atmosphere. It's quite slow paced, but the dialogue was very the way he writes. It was nice to see he hadn't sort of lost that touch of the way he writes. The smutty humour was good, but it wasn't over the top. He still got the little digs and the one liners, but it wasn't sort of Jay and Silent Bob smutty. It was just kind of like, okay, nice little subtle one-liners. Justin Long was good. Michael Parks was brilliant telling the story and being the crazy guy. I think the character balance was really good. If you're a Smodcast fan, there was little nods to his podcast and the sort of universe that he's created. I mean, the ringtone was Ralph Garman on his phone. I like the suspense. Yeah, I like that he channels this sort of experiences in the films. You sort of felt some of the stories. You were kind of thinking, yeah, okay, he's weaving that in. Johnny Depp was a bit strange as the French-Canadian policeman. It was a little bit odd. At the end was very strange, but I really liked it. I just thought it was weird, and I think it was nice to see that he's put that together in such a short space of time, and I think he pulled it off. I enjoyed it. I know it split people, and it didn't do well in cinemas, but I think because people weren't sure. I enjoyed it.
Can I make a comment and ask a question? I'm surprised you're saying Johnny Depp was an odd character. Did he wear a hat?
Yeah, he did. He was a French Canadian policeman, so he had a hat on.
He really is diversifying, isn't he?
He is.
I will say though, in this one, I thought it was refreshing.
Have you watched it as well?
Yeah, giving Johnny Depp his free roam. Go do it. He was at his good self again. I actually didn't mind that character. I thought he was a really good odd character that would kind of follow this kind of weird policeman who's got obsessed by finding this man who is convinced is turning people into something. It's a complete odd character. It is an odd character, and that lent itself well. And I think the problem is recently Johnny Depp's been forced into a box. This is Johnny Depp, this is your character. Whereas in this one it feels like, here you are, this is the basics, run with it, Johnny Depp. And he has, and if you give him space to feel it out, it was a weird character, it was very Johnny Depp. But it was Johnny Depp of 15 years ago as opposed to Johnny Depp in Alice in Wonderland.
When he seemed quite nice.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess we're voting now, and it's Scott to vote first with 2 kind of B horror movies, and one being Wolf Cop and the other being Tusk. Wolves and Walruses.
Wolf Cop sounded amazing to me. But it's always a depressing thought, I think, but it's true. No one's ever going to watch every film. Like, it's impossible to watch every film ever made, but it's impossible to watch every film made in your lifetime. It's impossible to keep up with everything. So a lot of things fall through the cracks, and I'm going to call it Wolf Job. Which is
That's a different
kind of film.
I want to see it.
Wolf Cop. I can't imagine ever really doing it as much as it just sounds awesome. But Tusk, I know for a fact I will watch that because I've watched every other Kevin Smith film, so I don't see why I won't. That's a lie. I never saw Cop Out.
No,
because I don't need to.
Even he said that.
And I was very intrigued by it because he's trying to escape his particular box he put himself into. Use a phrase we just used. But I liked Red State. I thought it was a bit different for him, but I wanted him to go a bit further next time, and it sounds like he has.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say, having not seen either, I'm going to say Tusk because I will watch that at some point.
Which means Steve votes next, and you've got Batman Returns and Wolf Cop.
Yeah, I haven't seen Batman Returns for ages. It is a good film. It's a good, strong Batman Christmas-based film. I wouldn't say it was up there in ones I needed to watch at Christmas, but I can see.
It's just that I'm a bat freak.
No, but it's got that. No, it definitely. It's one of those ones that definitely invokes Christmas, and Tim Burton's good at that. Like with Edward Scissorhands and not that he did it, but Nightmare Before Christmas. He had a big hand in that. So he's good at creating that festive feel, so I get that. Wolf Cop, I'm glad you said is good because it's one that I saw when I bought Zombievers, and it was a toss-up between the two, and I'd seen the trailer for Zombievers, so I went with that. But Wolf Cop alone, like Scott said on the title and the box cover, was like, how can it not be good? So it makes me happy that it is good.
You have to go out your way to ruin that.
Exactly.
Be a real cynical, critical bastard to not like that. I could rip it to shreds like a Wolf Cop would, but it's
they exist. They exist.
Wolf Cop I'll watch, so it's Wolf Cop for me.
Wolf Cop
for me.
So I can either send it to an audience vote or solidify Tusk as a winner. Batman Returns is my favourite Batman film, so yeah, that makes this decision even more hard. But I've talked about it a lot, and I think we've covered it well, and we even did an in defence of, didn't we, of this one?
I did belong.
We did a...
Did we do it? Did we do it on the podcast?
Yeah.
It comes up. I talk Batman all the time. I had to lean back on it because everything I've watched, we've either talked to death or will talk to death
time of year,
next week.
Yeah.
So it was like, in a mad panic, I did watch one of my favourite films of all time, so it's going to have to be that.
However, Kevin Smith's Tusk is, I think, a real achievement, actually, from him. It's not my favourite horror film, or this, that and the other. It's fine, but I enjoyed it, and it was better than I thought it would be. It's a 7 out of 10 for me. And I think it's a very good achievement. I think sometimes his cock humour did rear its head, and it did. It did
giggity
almost cross a line at bits, but I agree maybe didn't quite. I didn't kind of love it to that extent because it's a bit tired and things. I think he could have kept it a bit more its own thing. I don't think he had to splash quite as much Kevin Smith as he did.
Yeah, but when he's essentially electing to become an indie filmmaker and he's got a well-established audience, I bet he does feel he has to cater to them a bit.
I like the more subtle ones of the podcast humour. Tying that in, that was good. I enjoyed that but it was just, don't feel you have to go to knob gags. But he loves knob gags, doesn't he? So he's not doing it because he feels he really genuinely loves putting knob and weed humour in. The effects were striking initially, but did look a bit shonky. But for a ropey film and someone who, like me, has just brought in Wolf Cop, you can't really complain about that. It was completely messed up, and Michael Parks is fantastic. Justin Long did his job well.
What I like is that I remember when shonky first came up and we were all amused.
Yeah, and now
it gets used as if It's become part of our lexicon, hasn't it? Yeah. We're developing we're going to need a glossary.
We are.
It is a word though. Everyone keeps telling me it is, and it's just I've never come across it.
I think it was the context made it seem odder than it is. Even though, do you know what I mean? Like,
even though I used it properly.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I'm going. Even though I'm recommending a 7 out of 10 over a 9 out of 10 here. It's purely because I think not enough people have seen Tusk, and they should see Tusk if you get the opportunity. Because if you've fallen out a bit with Kevin Smith over the years, even he'd admit he's done some bad films recently, it's a good return to, well, nothing he's ever done before, but it's a good return to him being a good director. It's very good. I'm not entirely sure about him doing 2 more films that are tying into it. That feels a bit overindulgent, but Kevin Smith does do that as well. A lot. So I'm going to recommend Tusk and give it as you recommend this week, just because you've probably all seen Batman Returns 10 million times if you like us. So go see Tusk.
Oh, you better, or you'll be bored out of your mind. Bring it up again next section.
Yeah.
What?
Just because I can. Just because I can.
Decommend then, and it's Scott decommending first.
Oh shit.
Did you forget about that bit?
I forgot that I'd have to think of another film. Oh no, actually this one's easy. And I'm glad you picked me first, because I'm scared you might beat me to it. Home Alone 3.
Ah, yes.
Which me and Andrew watched together.
Oh.
Yeah, it's fucking awful.
We thought we'd give it a go, didn't we?
I don't think we set out to go, it's not Macaulay Culkin, it's fuck off.
Yeah, okay.
We didn't.
It's funny, I bought I only wanted Home Alone 2, so I hadn't got it. But the only place I could find it was in this box set with all 3 films, which is quite cheap, but it had the 3rd one, which I'd never see. Somehow, for some reason, we picked to watch Home Alone 3 out of all the films.
Okay.
And I mean, Home Alone 2, the Wet Bandits, which were the Sticky Bandits in that film, they go a bit darker and they have more sinister intent with Kevin McAllister and stuff, and they are threatening, but they're so hapless and goofy that it just adds to the charm and the whole thing. Whereas there's the proper sort of espionage, sort of black market spies in Home Alone 3. And it just all feels so weird. And then him being Home Alone is completely coincidental in terms of he's got chicken pox and has to be left for 10-minute periods every so often. Which weirdly make him like worse parents than, than the ones that keep leaving Kevin McAllister in different countries. And it just has none of the charm. And then Kevin McAllister's a very resourceful kid, but the traps he sets are very kid traps. They're like, if you were a kid and you were thinking how you could protect yourself, you'd set up the sort of things he did. Very basic physics and slapstick stuff. Whereas the kid in Home Alone 3, I felt like he could probably like build a rocket ship. Right. He was way too clever. Like, for a 10-year-old, and annoyingly clever.
Bit of a wise ass as well.
Yeah, he had an attitude problem. Didn't like it.
And whereas when Macaulay had a little go at his mum, you felt like he had the right to have a little go at his mum at that point.
Yeah.
She's a bitch. Whereas this kid was just a little bit of a smart ass.
Yeah, exactly. They were not wrong.
He was a very sweet kid, but he was a bit of a smart ass.
And there were a lot of 2D characters. Was Scarlett Johansson one of them?
Yeah, she was a sister. And
then he had his brother. It's not Buzz. I missed Buzz. His brother had hair going all over the place. That annoyed me. And it's just the same with all the charm taken out, and it's just, I don't know. I just don't like it. Didn't like it at all. It weren't the slapsticks. Like, yeah, it seems like the easiest thing in the world, but I don't think it is. Because good slapstick's really difficult because anyone can fall over. So trying to actually make that funny, it does take skill. And Home Alone 1 and 2 is some of the best slapstick on film, I think. The third one's not.
Okay, well, it's funny. Steve was stood in the shop holding Wolf Cop and Zombievers, trying to make a decision which one to buy. Funnily, Wolf Cop and Zombievers are the 2 films I brought today.
Okay.
Zombievers being my decommend. Which, yeah, great title and things, but just a pile of turd. I like horror movies that do things differently. That's what a B movie should be. This is just get teenagers being attacked by zombie beavers, but they just look like soft toys being waved. but it's not like bad. It's done because irony, you know. It feels like that, and it's just shit. It really just was just. I know it's probably the same as Wolf Cop in terms of everything else in the bigger picture. I shouldn't take it seriously, yada yada. It just felt really lazy. Like,
yeah,
seen it all before.
Well, the thing is with B movies is from surface appearance, it looks like the easiest thing in the world. Smash a couple of things together, come up with a stupid idea, film whatever. It's stupid, nothing matters. But like Andrew detects and is trying to articulate, a lot of them do have great intentions, and yeah, they are tongue in cheek, and they know they're doing something stupid. But there's love in there and charm in there, which makes them good bad for movies. But some of them just feel like they're trying to follow a formula, and they think it's easy.
It's like, you know, when we used to joke that someone would make a title and then they try to build a film around it.
Yeah.
And you said that never happens, people always do. But in this case, it really feels like Zombievers. Ha! They're zombies and they're beavers! Okay.
Yeah.
What else? Some teenagers go to a cabin by a lake. And it just then that's Hollywood horror premise that I find boring and dull. The dull side of 90s horror, that kind of trash, that overused. I don't want to see it again. And it's that side more than the beavers that annoyed me, I think. And the characters were meant to be funny and kooky, but they were just really annoying. Really annoying. Badly written, badly acted, stupid puppets. I probably shouldn't get this grumpy over something like this, but it was just... I felt like it wasted my time and sold me a lie. Even though it delivered on everything it said it would, you know?
Yeah.
I was completely with you. I believed every word, and then you went, silly puppets, and I went, I bet I'd probably like this.
But they're not puppets. They don't go,
like puppets.
You know, they're not like... They're basically someone holding a soft toy waving it at you.
That sounds hilarious.
That is hilarious in many cases, but in this case, it just wasn't. It just felt...
All the executions and stuff.
Just didn't hit anything for me.
Okay.
So yeah, sorry, Zombievers, which is a recommendation from Steve.
Yeah.
Did you actually bring
You've brought it around for me.
You've done this a couple of times, actually.
I brought it around.
Did you do it with
you get a bit of a lottery with it. It could have been fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it brings you us nicely to Steve.
Hi.
The Pink Ranger.
Watched a few averagey random films. My Decommend was one of the first couple of films I watched, and nothing has beaten it. It's The Heat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sandra Bullock, fair enough, okay. Melissa McCarthy in a comedy by Paul Feig, I believe. It's fucking terrible.
Does it bode well for Ghostbusters?
No, it doesn't bode well in any way, shape or form. Bridesmaids I didn't have an issue with. I found that quite amusing. It did it well. It set out to do this sort of female the bridesmaid thing, and it worked. This was just shit. The two characters, obviously they need to be opposite in a buddy movie. So you got Sandra Bullock, very straight edge, very by the book, just walks in, solves a crime, knows how to do everything. Melissa McCarthy, oh, look at me! Huh? Man! Fucking man! Whoa! Running about! Whoa! Sandra Bullock's wrong at everything. It was fucking awful. It wasn't funny. It was just...
I think they should remake Jack and Jill.
So fucking bad.
With Ricky Gervais and Melissa McCarthy.
Melissa McCarthy.
There is a little similarity in the little piggy faces.
What's the misogyny? What's the other one? When women are derogatory to men, is there a...
Misogyny?
Yeah, misogyny. We'll call it misogyny. Okay, it's full of misogyny. As when there you go. There's another word for the glossary. But it's just terrible, and it's obviously done for effect and for humour. But it's not. It's just. But it felt.
What you're forgetting is it's perfectly fine to be derogatory.
It's fine, completely.
It's been a patriarchal society before, so that means you can get away with murder and talk out your arse.
But yeah, it was just terrible. And I expected it to be slightly funny, but I just felt enraged and angry by the end of it. I didn't even score it. I didn't write a score next to it because I thought I wouldn't recommend it. I was going to I bought it from the second-hand shop. I was going to take it back up and say you can just have it, put it back, just
back on the shelf.
but put it in the bin or put a sign on it saying please
was
don't buy this film.
If it was truly that bad, you wouldn't want to share it. You brought it back to a place.
Put it in the window.
See, part of you wants it to be spread.
Put it in the window to ward people off.
And now you're giving it airtime. People are going to be like, I want to watch this.
I see this now.
Yeah. Have you found your Spring Breakers? I've been waiting for Steve to find his Spring Breakers.
It's this.
Has it happened?
It's fucking horrible. It's
Yay!
awful.
We all found out.
It's really, really, really bad. Yeah.
Right.
It just
It's a good then.
Sandra Bullock was good at the beginning, but even I got annoyed with her towards the end.
I never mind Sandra Bullock. I even like the bloody proposal.
I like the proposal.
Yeah, I didn't mind that.
I watched the Amityville Horror with him. Oh God, he takes his top off a lot.
He's dreamy.
Honestly, I've got to tell you about this. The most homoerotic television I've watched last year, was Bear Grylls going on a little trip with Zac Efron. Because they went off rummaging in the forest, and Zac he's a great guy. He's really enthusiastic. He wants to go for it. He's really like wide-eyed and does everything Bear tells him. And then Bear goes, "This last bit of our little adventure, Zac, we're going to go down that cliff together into that nice big lagoon. We're going to have to take our tops off to rappel down here." Why do you have to take your tops off?
Because
so Bear and Zac Efron peel off
ratings.
their tops, and Bear's just looking at him like, yes, I want a bit of High School Musical there. And then they rappel, but the thing is, they go, "Now put your shirt in your bag." So he does. Then he throws the bag off the cliff. And he's like, you are not getting that back, sunshine. So they rappel down the cliff together, and he goes, "Our way out of here is under that bit of tarpaulin over there. I was expecting a four-poster bed after this, Christ." So they rappel down the thing together, topless, squeezed against each other, and plop into the pool. Honestly.
Right.
It nearly turned me.
It's sexuality spectrum. We all have that one person. Zac Efron might have been Bear Grylls as one. We all have that one.
Okay, if I could take anyone into the forest with me, this is a dream come true.
So there's that one that makes you question everything.
And there was this weird, like, Zac Efron going, "My dad would never believe that I would do something like this," and he was like, "I believe in you, Zac. Put this worm in your mouth." So it comes to voting. Scott, you have Zombievers or The Heat?
Not seen either again. It's tough because Zombievers is a B movie which, if you'd not have said a word, could really go either way. And it's probably the sort of charm and stuff these things go for is quite highly subjective anyway. But so is comedy with The Heat, so maybe I'd like that. I don't know. I really don't know. I just go off sort of slight prejudice in everything I've seen Melissa McCarthy in, and if there's such a thing as anti-laughing.
Yeah.
I think that's what I do when she's on screen. So I'm never going to watch The Heat in my life because the odds are not favourable. But part of me wants to give Feig a chance because Ghostbusters 3 is happening whether we like it or not, and I want it to be good.
It's interesting. It's interesting to hear you say that because I thought, is it just me or is it the script? Is it her? I don't know. So it's interesting hearing you say that. Yeah, she's not particularly funny, but I didn't feel the script was good either. Yeah, it was.
Do you think that Melissa McCarthy suffers from something that happens a lot with American comedians in the fact that they get forced into a box of humour? Kristen Wiig, for example, she's a very good actress when she's allowed not to do that awkward thing that she does, a la Anchorman. That lady who's in Step Brothers, who plays the girlfriend, the wife of his brother, and she always plays the same character. I've forgotten her name. But again, I saw her in The Last Mimsy and something else, and she's a much better actress.
But is that the actress's fault for letting themselves?
But it's the same with this guy who goes pow in Step Brothers as well. That's his joke, and I've seen him in other things, and that's it. It's not just women, it's comedians in general in America get forced into acts, and it's just like in the films, they go, "Do that bit again that you did before in Saturday Night Live. That was good."
That was funny.
Yeah, I do think that exacerbates things, and I do think they do that. like Will Ferrell does that. He does do that. But I like him.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? So I do think it's still, but comedy is subjective. So a lot of people find her funny. It's very evident by how she's everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's not for me. So I'm going to say The Heat.
The Heat.
Zombievers, Zombievers I bought, I enjoyed. It did what it said on. It did what it set out to do, and I looked it up afterwards. I think it was a Kickstarter, and
I
it got
couldn't
made.
deny it did what it set out to do.
You know,
Did it have zombie beavers?
But it did.
It did what it set out to do.
What I liked about it, I'm going to defend it. What I liked about it was that I think it was a Kickstarter and it got funded and they made it, and so that's great. You know, someone's got their work out there, and I think I liked.
But someone put a potato salad on Kickstarter, and that came out.
Yeah,
didn't
that's
it?
true.
Do what?
Yeah,
they said potato salad, and then got loads of money for it,
loads
and that
of
was
money,
about it.
and
And then that was.
Now they've set up a festival,
I could put a
charity.
But that is, you know, that's the subverting culture, isn't it? It's always going to happen. But Kickstarter.
My point is, anything can be put on Kickstarter.
Yeah, it's true. But I think.
But someone, because it's so being sincerely trying to do something is hard, because you'll always have people judging you, cutting you down. Do you know what I mean? Even just us doing a podcast, I occasionally get in conversations, people judge me just for daring to try something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really hard to sincerely try and create something.
Yeah.
So I do see what you're saying. Like, just trying to do that. I'm on your side with that. Maybe the script fell a bit flat, but I like the fact that they hadn't done what all the sci-fi things do and all the stuff. It wasn't CGI beavers. It wasn't really they made the puppets, but I thought they looked pretty cool. They were like, you know, they didn't CGI
as far as
them.
soft toys in a charity shop go, yeah, they were,
and it
were good then.
It worked for me. I mean, it was a 5. It was it wasn't a 5 or a 6. It wasn't the greatest, but I enjoyed it, and I think I do think it's worth seeing, and I hope that if they are, the filmmakers and have got out there and it's done all right, and they carry on, because it's.
I don't actually.
It's an interesting. I think. Yeah.
I don't mind these films existing, and I'd rather they did exist and just allowed me to enjoy Mother B movies that I do like. So, in that sense, it's just that I just should stop, because I pretty much, you're having a risk when you pick up Ghost Shark and Zombies and Sharknado. It's probably going to be one of those. But you could argue that Wolf Cop could have been one of those as well.
Yeah.
So it's a lottery.
Yeah.
I mean, not everything's for everyone, even if it's in your wheelhouse. Yeah. If you know what I mean. So, like, people just create art, and then we absorb it, and you like it or you don't.
Yeah.
But you never want them to stop it, even if it's not quite your thing. It's like with Hunger Games, and we make a lot of jokes. I'm quite indifferent to it, but I don't mind it. Andrew doesn't like it. You love it. We're the spectrum.
Yeah, we are.
I'm glad it's there.
Yeah. Same with Lord of the Rings. I mean, I mock it and I'm there, but there's a following. It's great. I'm just not.
Oh yeah,
you can't mock Lord of the Rings. I'll let you mock The Hobbit.
The Hobbit. I mean,
I'll let you do that. I'm going to defend you, Lord of the Rings.
I was testing.
The only time I begrudge the existence is if it's like a retreaded, ill-advised sort of approach.
Yeah.
If it's new and creative. Do it.
Go with it.
Do it.
Right, we're getting a bit beefy.
Yeah. So Zombievers is my. I'm keeping that. And Home Alone 3, I did a similar thing to Andrew a few years ago. It was cheaper to buy all 4 than it was to buy Home Alone 1, so I bought all 4. I've owned 3 and 4 now for maybe 6 years and never watched 3 and 4. They've sat in a box, and I don't want to, because
we were going to watch 4, weren't we?
They're not the first 2, and I think they're such a beautiful little pairing and a good package, and like you say, the second one ramps it up. It gets a bit darker, but it's still stupid. And then to take all that away and go, we've just changed all the actors and all the things, and even reading the plot on the back, it's like, well, that's not Home Alone, you just nicked the title. So hearing that it's shit doesn't surprise me in any way, shape or form. So I'm quite glad I haven't watched it, and my decommend is going to be Home Alone.
Ooh.
Oh, okay, which is the biggest travesty, The Heat or Home Alone 3? So I've got the hardest choice here. I mean, I wouldn't go near The Heat with a barge pole, because I know I won't like that it's just I'm not a minimalist. I'm not fan. I've seen her do cameos in various things. I've seen Bridesmaids. She was the worst bit of Bridesmaids for me. It's just her. I don't like her. I mean, I don't know.
It's not always personal. You can not like someone and not hate them.
I think that's it. But it's just not me. It's not my cup of tea. It just looked a bit embarrassing. And watching Sandra Bullock looked like your mum trying to be funny in some of the adverts for it, and it just looked a bit painful. Home Alone 3. It's a bit of. It's not a travesty. I don't think. It's just very, very boring and pointless. And
could you have called it something else?
Yeah, you could. To be honest, it just was unnecessary. It was just money spinning, and the only saving grace for that one, and this is the reason I might save it, is it has one of my first crushes in it. And it was the lady from Gremlins 2 who had the curly hair and the glasses. And
she was the
smoking,
mum, Peggy.
And she was the mum.
Peggy
I always had a good time. So you know what? That makes my decision easy. I'm saving Home Alone 3.
She looked a lot different and not quite as hot. She looked
still
more mumsy.
Yeah. Milfy.
But milfiness is a vibe. I just weren't picking up on the milfiness.
That's alright, I was, so I'm saving.
He's saving your film.
Saving Home Alone 3 for the heat. There we are. MILFs win. And instead of writing the heat, I wrote the MILF direction.
Okay.
And now I've just put the meat.
It's time for the news. Got to start with the big one, the news that's been pretty much swamped the news since Christmas. The Sony hack.
Oh God, how long have we got?
I thought I'd start with this. We'll give it its due. So November 24th, Sony got hacked. They stole lots of data and deleted the original stuff from the Sony machines. Then the hackers shared it on file sharing torrent sites, and basically newspapers were picking at it to try and find glimmers of news. They posted 5 movies: Fury, Mr. Turner, Annie, Still Alice, and To Write Love on Her Arms, which are as yet unreleased, so they were all posted to torrent sites for people to download. Confidential emails, mainly day-to-day talks, but there was talks of Spider-Man crossover that did happen. Apparently a few of the emails said that men were paid more than women for the same job, and most of the execs are men.
Really?
That was a bit of a...
That's bad.
One that came out. 16 out of 17 of the execs are male. They briefly stopped the release of the interview on Christmas Day, but then released it everywhere on sites. So that's pretty much
a bit of a cop out
summing up
the way they released it, though.
Yeah, well, Barack Obama kind of turned on them, didn't he, and made them feel like they needed to put it out somehow. I felt a bit sorry for him, really, because I don't think anyone were prepared for a complete cyber attack. It's been fascinating, but it's not right. Bits of it are really sort of scary, and news sites have capitalised on it like no one's business, which morally is great. But it's been fascinating. It really has, because our world's just becoming more cyber, and cyber attacks almost the most efficient way to get at someone nowadays, isn't it? And Oodles of Spider-Man. Everything they've ever thought about, talked about, considered has been leaked.
What's the key of the things then?
Well, it just shows you
paying that much attention,
because we all sit back and we all speculate. Why don't they do this? Why don't they do that? It just shows you they do have those conversations, but it peters out or whatever. So they were in talks with Marvel to have a sort of it talks about getting Spidey involved in Avengers and Civil War. They'd want a new Spider-Man, and they'd share the wealth, and then Marvel get to produce Sony sort of revamped Spider-Man that exists in the same world, sort of thing. But for some reason it didn't quite work out, and then they considered having Sam Raimi back, which I think that's done with. Well, it just sounds like they've just had a huge panic and considered, and there's loads of emails of them being told repeatedly that Spider-Man 2 could be a lot better, and them just running ahead. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And on the Aunt May movie thing, which I thought was a joke, was considered for a bit.
Really?
Wow, okay.
There's too much to even go over, but every conceivable permutation and thought regarding Spider-Man has happened, and it seems like they haven't got a fucking clue what they're going to do or what they should do, which shows.
They're panicking a bit with all this stuff going on.
But I feel sorry for them.
Yeah, it's not a good thing.
Because, like, and the film, there's no better advertisement they could have imagined, because everyone's going to watch that now, almost in defiance or in intrigue.
Yeah.
But there's also that it will get an incredible amount of backlash, because not everyone likes Seth Rogen, and comedy is wildly subjective. So I've already seen loads of, but it's one. But that's not the point. The point is that it's a piece of art and freedom of expression, and that should be allowed. And who's the dictator, right-wing dictator, to stop it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Through intimidation and bullying. So it don't matter what film it was, but there's that weird. It's getting a boost, so that's good for it.
Yeah.
But there's that weird. It's also getting judged incredibly harshly for things beyond its control. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll watch it eventually.
It'd be nice to see whether it is good.
I'm not
once the backlash.
I'm not paying on YouTube to watch it.
No, I don't know a lot of people who paid on YouTube and said they didn't actually get to see it. There was lots of stuff happened, and then I think Sony got countersued for pirating the music, for allowing the music to be used. There was rumours of that.
Well, they were coming out.
They'd put the film up.
They were coming out in England, and I was talking to the guy who was putting all the posters up, and they were literally like a distress email, like, do not put those fucking posters.
Oh God!
Of everyone being like, it's been fascinating.
So there was some money. So yeah, it's like you say, it's a worrying time when we live in. The entire movie studio can just get, here's everything.
Well, because weirdly, they feel untouchable in a weird way. They feel like they almost exist outside of earthly politics, and they don't.
No.
And I won't be surprised if it happened again. Be someone else.
It's a strange one. So yeah. Anything to...
No, I obviously heard the Idris Elba was considered for Bond,
which I think would be great. I think he'd be a great Bond.
Regardless of what the people are saying, he's just an actor, isn't he? So yeah, I think he's a good actor.
What people say?
Oh, there've been people going on about race and things, and it doesn't matter at all.
No, not for Bond.
No.
No, it just has to be British and sort of middle-aged and cool.
As long as he doesn't even have to be British, if he can do a British accent, then he can.
True, but I'd argue it feels like it should be British. I think Idris Elba is probably the best shout I've heard.
He would be good. I mean, he tweeted a picture of himself with, I thought 007 was supposed to be handsome. Glad you think I've got a shot. Happy New Year, people. There's this picture of him with a woolly hat on.
He's got a really cool charm about him.
Yeah.
He can act, and I think he'd be great.
I think
you just have to see him in Luther, and you can see a kind of
Luther's
smouldering, angry
great.
Bond. Can't
Yeah, I think no problem.
Well, Daniel Craig's got one more film left, so it's going to be a couple more years till we actually get a cast. But yeah, I think it'd be good. Bruce Campbell's been in talks with Entertainment Weekly and revealed the details of Ash vs Evil Dead, and it's still called not the Evil Dead, which is we brought up before. It's
because it don't make any sense.
No, Ash vs Evil Dead.
This is Evil Dead.
Yeah, so he's going to be living in a trailer park working at S-Mart when a return of the Deadites prompts him to take a trip with two co-workers. He said it's going to be a little old-fashioned slapstick horror and comedy, but they're taking the horror parts very seriously. Fans have been good to them over the years, and they don't want to let them down. So
sounds like Evil Dead.
They're not going to make fun of the horror. They are going to take the horror very, very seriously. And it's going to cause Ash some serious problems.
It needs that slapstick and that humour, though, because that is what it is, and that's part of its enduring charm, and that's why Bruce Campbell's perfect for it.
Yeah.
So.
Simon Pegg's given his blessing for a touring Shaun of the Dead show. Last year, stage director Chaz Burns organised a stage show at the 2004 film and sold out all the showings. And after getting the 140 character tweet from Peg, he was ready to take it over the globe. There's 15 dates in southwest of England so far, so it's not quite the globe, but good luck to them.
It doesn't harm the film one iota. Why wouldn't you give it a blessing?
They've done it before with Evil Dead. They did on stage
yeah.
and things, you know. Sometimes it's ill-fated, Spider-Man, but you know what?
Yeah. And the guy said it's not a musical. He said, I'm not a big fan of musicals, so I can tell you now it's not a musical. So,
I mean, if you make a film that hits popular culture, there's going to be a taste for all sorts of things on it. So why wouldn't you commission more? Like, it just makes sense, doesn't it? It gives Shaun of the Dead fans all over can go and see a show. Why wouldn't you give a blessing?
Yeah, definitely.
Got your film.
Tim Burton has said that Beetlejuice 2 is closer than ever. Keaton's done really well with Birdman at the cinemas at the minute, and Burton has big eyes out. But yeah, Tim Burton's got big eyes.
It's like a slug.
Tim Burton's big eyes are out at the minute. But yeah, and that's generated a lot of buzz. Apparently, it's really good.
The way Beetlejuice's makeup and stuff is, I don't think Keaton would look old or anything to disarm. It's one of them where I never thought it'd happen, and I could get all protective, but I think Beetlejuice is more of a cult thing. It's like not cult, but I don't think it's a huge sort of thing to mess with. I think it's more of a cult. People like it, so I think a sequel might actually give it a heightened sort of I don't know what. I know what I mean.
Just that sort of like credibility and that sort of that revamp, rather than doing a reboot or a thing.
Kind of like, remember this, guys?
Yeah.
How good was this?
I think it's like, well, that's the intention behind Dumb and Dumber as well, wasn't it? Remember how that. And you can say it won't be as good. Like, Dumb and Dumber wasn't, by all accounts, as good, but it's an homage in a way. It's a kind of look, and if the right people are making it and the people who originally make it are behind it, then nothing wrong with it. Anchorman 2 is another example.
Put it this way: as a powerless fan of the first one, I sit back with intrigue and know for a fact I'll watch it, and know for a fact I'd kind of want it to be good. I know for a fact if it was, I'd be ecstatic.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely.
I'm just going to let it happen. See, let's just.
Cool.
Which it might not, yeah. He's just
saying it's further along than he thought. They're
Yeah.
working on a script, and he definitely like to work with him again. I think Winona Ryder said she'd be on board if it happens. So it's all good. Mike Coulter, who's been in the Halo TV show, has got a regular part in The Good Wife. He's been in The Following. He's been cast in the Netflix Marvel show, aka Jessica Jones, as Luke Cage.
Yeah, Power Man. Obviously, they're building a sort of Netflix Avengers of sort in the Defenders. Jessica Jones, Power Man, and Iron Fist, I think. I'm looking forward to it. The Daredevil stuff's all wrapped up, I think, and it sounds really cool and intriguing. But they're almost like lost in my periphery radar.
Yeah.
So when they come out, it'll be just really cool.
Yeah.
It's almost like bonus stuff.
Little treat,
Over here. As a superhero fan, I just never have to wait more than a month for like something new. And a month's usually this time of year when it's just that weird period between mid-season things and shit.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I'm just so catered for. It's almost like
The movies haven't even started yet.
Exactly. I feel like a fat emperor, and someone keeps like handing me more and more turkey sticks. Like,
Turkey's what?
Sorry?
Turkey's what?
Turkey sticks.
Turkey
right.
sticks.
I love turkey dicks. Gobble gobble.
While Scott gobbles down his turkey dicks, I'll leave that story. Justin Lin, who took over directing on the third Fast and Furious film, has now been asked to do the same with the Star Trek franchise and has been hired as the director for the third movie. So there you go.
Visually, I'm sure he's fine.
It's not Edgar Wright though, which is sad.
No. Will he make sure there's lens flares on every other frame?
That's what
Hope.
Because if I can actually concentrate and see stuff in the background, I don't know if I'll enjoy it.
I don't mind it not being Edgar Wright though, because as I said last time this news came up, was I'd rather he had his own franchise to make as opposed to emulating or carrying on someone else's legacy, which is very, very Abrams.
And also, I absolutely adored that reboot, but the second one I found quite mildly disappointing, so I'm not overly protective of it. And the whole point of it was to bring it back and revive it, and to...
Yeah.
You can almost James Bond it, where it'll have all sorts of people touching it and playing with it, so I'm not going to be too precious about it.
I think a similar thing happened with James Wan and Fast and Furious. The second one took a bit of a... wasn't as good. They brought him in and he revitalised the franchise.
Did he?
Yeah.
Exactly the same, Steve.
Oh, the seventh one's out.
But now the races...
Have you even seen it, though?
I've seen all 6, yeah.
The new one with Wan. Wan's one.
I haven't seen 7 yet.
Is that Wan's one?
Yeah, it's not out.
So you don't know if it reinvigorated the...
Oh no, Wan did 6.
Okay.
Yeah, Wan did 6 as well, I think, yeah.
In fairness...
I might be wrong, tweet in.
In fairness, you, just as a backseat observer of people's reactions, I only watched like 2 and 1, I think. Fast 5 did seem to get everyone going, you know what, they're really laughable fun. And then 6 did really well. So maybe it has, but like...
It's just Need for Speed that really fell.
Yeah, it fell really flat, I think. Tried to jump on the bandwagon. Scott Derrickson posted a photoshopped picture, he's the director, of Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. And it's just showing all shave off his facial hair. There was a really cool, like, photoshopped, mystical picture of Benedict Cumberbatch that he put up.
There's a lot
just
of fan art.
Generate a bit of... That was the director... Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be cool. Marvel's trust. People are intrigued by it. I still think it's going to be interesting to see if they can pull off mysticism. Because I do think it's a whole other level of disbelief you have to do. Because they even avoided that with 4.
Yeah.
But we'll see. You can't doubt what's not failed yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's true. And lastly, the news has been slow because of all the Sony stuff, so there's not a lot, but the last thing I put is just there's a picture. The Walt Disney CEO, Bob Iger, was in a financial magazine that they big up people, and we got the first ever close-up images of the Millennium Falcon, aka the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy, and it looked just nice to see it. It's full-size, life-size, built, not CGI'd, awesome-looking Millennium Falcon.
Do you think, how much would it cost
excited
to build an absolute replica Millennium Falcon, which flew?
Ooh.
Which flew?
Like, you're a billionaire.
You have to change technology, though. I don't think.
Well, it's almost like modifying a helicopter or a plane. Like, I'm not saying make an actual spaceship, but just from appearance, it would look like you're flying a Millennium Falcon.
I think getting that is the most difficult bit. You could build like the model and the structure of the ship and everything. Just getting the practicality of it flying. That's where the money would fall. I think.
Yeah.
I think you're talking billions.
I'll work on it. Leave it with me. Leave it with me.
We are now joined by Mark Roberts at The Sword Is Drawn on Twitter. You can follow his blog. It came from Darkmoor. First one of the year. Mark, how are you? Happy New Year.
Yeah. Hi guys, and Happy New Year, I guess, really.
So what have we got for us today then, Mark?
Well, today, over the kind of Christmas and New Year period, I tend to spend a little time catching up on books and series that I perhaps would not have covered in monthly format. But I tend to go out hunting for hardcovers and trades of things which are going to collect a nice big chunk of story to kind of get into, give something a go with, really.
Cool.
And I found 3 volumes this time around, which I picked up over the Christmas period and had a little look at, and so I'm going to go through those today.
Sounds good. Okay, Go for it.
I'm going to start off actually with, and some people may have heard this was being collected again late last year. The first book I've got is Zenith Phase 1 from out of the studio of 2018, which was a 1980s comic by Grant Morrison and Steve Yowell. A little bit of controversy over this a couple of years ago when it was first mooted they might be collecting these. As far as I know, Zenith hadn't been reprinted in a heck of a long time. And I don't believe that certainly initially, Grant Morrison was too happy with the idea of 2080 just going and reprinting. I think there was a bit of a debate over who had the kind of legal rights to that. Okay. To give you some kind of background to Zenith, the world of Zenith it's rare for 2000 AD, who have always kind of been this is the sci-fi comic, to do anything kind of like this. There is a kind of a school of thought. This came out maybe, I think it was 2 years maybe after Watchmen did from DC. And there is this constant kind of belief that Grant Morrison and Alan Moore think in very similar fashions and similar ways. This might be in some ways influenced by it. We have a World War II character called, I think it's Maximan, isn't it? And Masterman.
Nice
they are
name.
British and German superheroes from that World War II kind of era. And then we had a superhero team called Cloud9, which was like a British superhero, super soldier kind of program that followed on from after the war. As we stand in the present, or at least the present for about 1986, all of the superheroes that were there have either somehow lost their powers, or at least that's the publicly accepted story, so they no longer appear to be around and about or are no longer with us, barring one. Zenith is effectively the only recognised superhero in Britain, and using those particular powers that he has taken the proud decision to become a rock star. So,
okay.
Yeah, that is it. It's entirely based around the publicity and what you can do and the sense of spectacle about it, until another version of Masterman, the World War II villain, suddenly pops into being, and it is explained that the entire German superhuman kind of program and the concept of the master race was actually a plot from a series of pan-dimensional alien beings in order to find vessels by which they could survive in our dimension. Attempts of invasion ploy. And I kid you not. But large parts of this particular volume, in the first volume, deal with trying to bring back some of those heroes. Of course, we are talking 1960s, 1970s flower power generation kind of heroes, and there's been quite a time in between that. They're older. Voltage, a female hero, is one of the only ones who's still kind of there and out in the public eye. There's a guy called Reese, the Red Dragon. Welsh hero is now a complete total alcoholic. And I forget the name. There's a kind of a flower power seeing kind of guy who was very much into the kind of the whole kind of transcending things and doing things telepathically and so on.
Nice.
And he has entirely thrown his back on that and become a Conservative MP in Margaret Thatcher's government.
Okay.
So a little bit kind of this is what happened now and how things can go wrong in the future. But yeah, it's actually been it's because we're talking 80s comic, we're still talking black and white artwork chiefly, but a very, very nice set of black and white artwork, it has to be said. The series itself, I believe there's now 2 volumes. I've picked up the second volume, actually, yes. That's in the stack waiting to go. So yeah, that's probably considered to be a little bit controversial. But yeah, it's a really nice series, and it's great to have that kind of reprinted again. Anybody who kind of has been getting into the whole kind of Miracle Man thing over at Marvel, reprinting all that series from the 80s, and any of the Watchmen kind of fans from the back, they're probably going to find this fairly interesting. It's the same kind of ilk, but much more of a British 2000 AD kind of central setting.
Nice.
Second up, a book that, well, to be honest, I could have picked up in single issues. I've picked up the first collection of The Wicked and the Divine by Kieran Gillen and J.V. McKelvey. Now, many people will know Gillen and McKelvey principally from probably their work at Image Comics on Phonogram a few years ago now. They did 2 volumes of that. Both have been doing bits and pieces at Marvel Comics as well, culminating again with the 2 of them working together on a run on Young Avengers last year. The Wicked and the Divine has received a fair bit of kind of press along the way, and I think this is a great example of why it's great to have a full trade to kind of read through a story. I mean, right. I read through the first kind of 2-3 issues of this, and I wasn't entirely into it, but by the time I got to the end of the trade, I absolutely was.
Okay.
To kind of bridge the principle of what the series is, it's basically set up that every 90 years, a series of gods and deities from around the world are reincarnated into the bodies of current-day teenagers.
Right.
Now, when they are, in inverted commas, activated, I suppose, they are told exactly who they are, and they realise who they are, and they gain the knowledge of their past and so on through that. And they know that they're going to burn very, very brightly for a couple of years, and then that's it. They have to fade away, they have to die again, and then they'll be brought back in another 90 years. In the meantime, of course, they can enjoy whatever that presents. And in the modern era, we're first in the 1920s, and it's very much more like a more kind of a magician show kind of supernaturalist kind of experience.
Right, okay.
Whereas the modern age, naturally, it's music and it's pop stars, it's rock stars, it's gigs, it's performance.
Nice.
Some of which is quite bizarre, quite detailed.
Okay.
The two kind of focal characters at this point, certainly for this first arc, is Lucy with an I, and a fangirl who's called Laura, who has been following the group, and the two of them meet together. Lucy, of course, is the current generation's incarnation of Lucifer. Very, how can we say, white dupe suit wearing androgynous Bowie style female.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, the first arc basically deals with Lucy as she kind of pushes her luck a little bit and puts on a bit of a show, kind of breaches the rules that the gods have kind of set for themselves, and as a result ends up in a courtroom trial, which unfortunately, though it isn't believed that she was responsible for what occurred, ends up killing the judge. And there was a huge kind of furore over what happens afterwards. So, yeah, it's...
Okay.
If you can imagine how appreciative I've been over some things like the Myths and Legends in the Sandman series that we've talked about.
Yeah, definitely.
And the Wonder Woman run that has been going on over at DC recently. This kind of fits in exactly into that pocket, but with a very kind of relevant, very kind of modern day take on things. And yeah, it's an awful lot of fun. It's something that I perhaps would have struggled if I bought in single issues. I would have debated as to whether I should have stuck with it or not, but I would have been very glad if I had done. By the end of the first 5 issues here, there's definitely something that's quite special in this series and well worth pursuing in the future.
That sounds good. Sounds very good. And the third and final book you're going to bring, please?
Yeah, this is a bit different, actually. You're aware of Scott Pilgrim?
Oh, indeed I am.
Very much so.
Fantastic books.
I think that was one of those books that kind of pitches right into a similar territory. It's kind of interesting that it was Edgar Wright that was responsible for producing the film version of that. It kind of pitches into that very much. I know both you and I back in the early 2000s, we were huge on space and the like. It's that kind of early 20s pop culture heavy kind of vibe.
Oh, brilliant. Because when they announced Edgar Wright for that film, it was just like that perfect yes, because you pictured the Scott Pilgrim and space and just went, it's going to work. How can it not?
It's a natural pairing. Now, so I suppose the question was always, what were we going to get from Brian Lee O'Malley after he'd finished doing that?
Yeah. And
a couple of years later, down the road, we have the answer. It's a book called Seconds, which is, rather than Scott Pilgrim was a series of books that were put out, I think it was through Oni Press originally for comic book store format. This particular volume is a single book, hardcover book, a couple of 100 pages, put together through Random House. So it's designed for bookstores, this version.
Okay.
Very much a single unit in its own right. Whereas Scott Pilgrim was very much a kind of an early 20s kind of experience, a comment on life in that kind of fashion. Seconds is very much kind of the tail end of the 20s going into the 30s. It centralizes on a girl called Katie, who is a chef at a restaurant called Seconds.
Okay.
Yeah. About 5 years earlier, she has got together with a guy named Ray, who was the manager of the entire setup. He put in the money in, and she's built up the menu, she's built up the reputation, but she doesn't feel at this particular point that she's getting the recognition that she would have liked from that. I mean, she couldn't have afforded at the time to have put together a restaurant on her own. Times have changed. It was 5 years on. She wants to do that. But the way the entire story flows, it begins. She's been renting the flat above the house, above the workplace rather, and she starts having these little dreams of certainly what appears to be like a small kind of Japanese girl with white hair, who's crouching on top of the dresser in the corner of the room. And she keeps on pointing down to the drawer, the top drawer. I mean, she's been using this drawer to put her socks in. It's perfectly normal. There's nothing wrong with this drawer.
Right.
And she kind of reaches around the corner and realises there's a little click. And there's a box in there. And the box has a little card in there that says, if everything kind of gets to its worst, write down in this little book what your greatest mistake is.
Right.
Consume this mushroom and go to sleep.
Okay, I like the idea of that.
Utterly bizarre, and she completely disregards and gets on with her life until a few other things don't seem to be quite going her way. She's got an ex-boyfriend who keeps on kind of showing up at the diner, and she doesn't really want to see him or speak to him. a few kind of minor things start to be going wrong with the new restaurant as it's being built. It doesn't seem to be going anywhere. And one morning she decides to take the mushroom.
Okay.
And she goes to sleep and wakes up the following day. And everything that she's written down that she thought was a mistake has been erased.
Nice.
Yeah. The only problem being that when you realise that you can kind of do this once...
Yeah.
Later, she seems to encounter another set of mushrooms. She's found there are these similar mushrooms growing under the floorboards in the restaurant. She decides to do it again.
Right.
Kind of this is a kind of the opportunity with Seconds is to show what you can do if you would have the opportunity to rewrite your life and change things each time as you wanted to. So you could aim for this kind of perfection, but know that full well that the more you change doesn't necessarily make it any better in the long run.
No, I like that. That sounds good.
So yeah, volume very much in that same kind of style, same kind of narrative style. Okay, you don't have like the video game icons, elements and stuff. That's all very much Scott Pilgrim in its own right.
Yeah.
But certainly the voice of the narrator and the breaking the third wall and talking to the narrator as well and breaking off and saying, no, I'm not doing that, I'm doing this.
Oh, fantastic.
It's all got that very kind of similar vibe to it. So yeah, as a simple volume on its own, in its own right, pick it up in a bookstore, fantastic to read.
And that's only available in hardback, did you say, at the minute?
That's right, yeah. At this time, let me just have a quick look at the back. Yeah, it's Random House, and I was wrong actually, about 330 pages.
Oh, nice, okay.
Yeah, not
So
bad.
substantial. Oh, fantastic, thank you very much. So they were, just to recap...
First one is Zenith, Phase 1 by
Yep.
Grant Morrison and Steve Yoel, published by 2000 AD.
Yep.
The second is The Wicked and the Divine, The Faust Act, by Kieran Gillen and Jamie McKelvey, which is put out by Image Comics. And finally, Seconds by Brian Lee O'Malley, which is put out through Random House.
Fantastic, thank you very much. And is there anyone you'd like to give a shout or a nod to that you think we should follow this new year?
It's been a bit of a strange Christmas, New Year from a comics kind of standpoint, actually. I mean, usually there's kind of a rush in the last couple of weeks of December to try and get everybody to shove their books out at the same week and get them all through so that people can read stuff over Christmas. This time round, certainly the window just before Christmas, directly on Christmas Eve, I think there was 2 books out by Marvel. I think there might have been 3 from DC. It was a very quiet and kind of sparse period. Okay. The only thing that did come of interest from that was I noticed that Marvel have put out an actual proper Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. series and a kind of it is set in Marvel Comics continuity, trying to use the characters from the TV series a little bit more. I don't know whether that's a direction they're going to stick with, but okay. I know that's in the order that will eventually, I'm sure, when Royal Mail start delivering things to me again, through the mail as soon as they can.
Oh, well, thank you kindly, Mark. It's been awesome to speak to you. Cheers.
Always a joy.
Well, it comes to the end of the show.
It's nice to be back.
I feel older, I feel wiser.
Yeah.
You know why, though?
Why?
It's my birthday today.
It is.
No one's mentioned it.
Yeah, actually, I hadn't forgotten, because what we're going to do for you today, Scott, is see how well you know superheroes.
What do you mean?
We're going to play a little game for your birthday called The Smell of a Superhero.
The smell of a superhero.
You recognise superheroes?
Had you actually prepared this?
I have, yeah.
Oh, so you did remember?
Yeah.
Well.
So,
oh, he saved it really well.
I've got... Basically, I got given these,
Okay.
which are shower gels
The Avengers.
for the Avengers.
Okay.
And they all smell different.
Okay.
And what we're going to do is we're going to blindfold you. And you're going to see if you can guess. You've got to describe the smells for the listeners with the little pots here, and you've got to see how well you know, how well you can smell a superhero, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I've got a keen nose for
Yeah.
this sort of stuff.
So we need to blindfold him.
We do.
Can I not just close my eyes?
No.
Do you have to go
I know
full?
how much of a massive cheat you are.
Oh,
You can
Use that.
Use the mask.
Use that.
oh,
Put that
yeah.
under the mask.
I'm wearing my Power Rangers mask
Put that
But
under
not
the-
on properly.
Like that.
and Steve's scarf.
There we go.
Now my nose is covered. There's a flaw in this plan.
Oh,
Right, we'll sort it. We'll get rid of the
alright,
mask.
we'll get rid of the mask. I've just run out of
Oh, look at you.
space. on
No,
my
what you
phone.
need to do is if you feel anything funny down below,
What's this shaft that's...
that's Iron Man's
We need to just
extendable pole
Okay.
put that under there.
from a delete.
There we
Okay, So we are playing The Smell of a Superhero. And you've got to guess. So this is your first one. So here we are. Describe the smell.
It's I don't know how to. It's like.
You want to smell, Steve? Will?
It's like if someone had BO and they didn't have time to shower, they could only put shower gel on them and hope it sort of overwhelmed the smell.
So it's not a desirable smell.
No, it's a bit funky.
Okay.
So who do you think would smell like that?
I'm torn between two.
Mm-hmm.
I think Hulk could be a very sweaty rage beast, but I think Iron Man would be like he's in a big metal suit. You know, that's gonna smell, isn't it?
Well, okay, we'll reveal it in a moment.
So
that was smell one. So smell one. If you could just make a note for me, Steve. His answer was Iron Man for smell number one.
Is Iron Man.
Smell number two. Okay, you ready? No peeking.
I can't because there's a scarf.
I gotta get a good whiff of that.
Shooting it on my nose.
I heard that. There's a big that went up your nose.
Oh my god! Slightly overwhelmed.
It's better than the other one.
It smelled a lot nicer, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not good at detecting like smells unless it's obvious, like mint or something.
It's quite a manly smell, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's kind of
yeah.
like a standard.
It almost reminds me of sort of holiday smell, sort of sun cream.
So who is?
That's come right up. You're not going to.
Scott's just got a nose of stink.
They're all going to smell the same from now on.
Well, it smelled. Well, it smelled nice.
Okay.
It's now in my bloodstream because I snorted it like cocaine. It's quite nice, quite pretty. I'm gonna guess Cap.
You got that one?
I just don't know if I smelled it properly. I think I've still got Cap up my nose.
It's on my fingers.
It is. It's on it. Yeah.
So this is smell three. He's getting a good whiff.
Yeah.
I'm
not.
Becoming more troublesome.
That's it.
It is becoming harder. I think I detected vague, sort of minty, but I don't know if that's just you fucked up my nostrils. So whole.
Okay.
So I don't have to sniff last one.
You do
because it's going
you want to smell it.
The remainder. I can't even smell that one. I can't smell. Have you fucked up my sense of smell?
Oh no, that one's quite
potent.
Yeah, that's potent.
Puffing it.
It's probably my least favourite. It's my least favourite. Yeah.
Like Cheezo breath.
Yeah, it's
Cheezo breath.
I don't go with that.
Okay, so what was that one?
That's number 4.
What have I said? Iron Man, Hulk,
and Cap.
Cap. So it's 4 then, isn't it?
Okay. So take your blindfold off and we'll reveal. So number 1, you guessed.
That's my glasses.
It's on you.
Can't see a thing without my glasses.
Number 1, you guessed as Iron Man, and it was.
Oh, that was a pure shot in the dark. So I'm proud of that.
The second one you guessed as Captain America, but it was in fact Captain America.
Oh, that worked for me. So it were Cap up my nose.
Cap up your nose.
It'd have been embarrassing if I kept saying Cap up my nose and it was.
And the next was you guessed.
This is the most suspenseful because I don't know if I'm right after.
It was you guessed Hulk.
You did.
I thought I smelt something minty.
Unfortunately, it was
Hulk.
So therefore, you guessed Thor as well. So Scott does in fact know the smell of superhero. Well done.
I told you. I'm a superhero. I got really. If I hadn't got the first one right, I wouldn't have got any.
So now it is time to go to the book, the great book that we read every other week. First one of the year, and this week it's dedicated to Elride, Lauren, because it was her birthday and she likes them. She's one of the 2 people that likes barbecue stories outside of this room. So, yeah, this one's dedicated to Elride. The first Bumpy Goose story of the year is called A Scary Face, and it has one of my favourite names of all Bumpy Goose.
That's high praise. It is very high praise.
Over to you, Steve.
Okay. A scary face. Doonan Willymonger.
What was his first name?
Doonan Willymonger.
Willymonger.
Yeah.
Wow.
Was messing around with his toy sausages.
Oh my god. Is it just a succession of phallic innuendo?
Probably.
Okay.
Very childish.
Let us go to the shop, said Mum to Dad. Doonan wants to go shopping too. Okay, said Dad. Thank you, said Mum.
I'm glad that was resolved.
Yo, man, said Doonan.
Just one cool dog. Street kid. Doonan.
Yo, man.
Yo, man.
Yo, man.
Yo, man.
With my toy sausages.
He's got his bling sausages.
Christmas would be the best. There's a pack of sausages. You go, yes, winner.
Yo, man.
World of possibility. They were in town, and Doonan wanted to go into Weirdo's Wonderful Window Stickers.
Is that a shop?
Yeah.
Weirdo's Wonderful
window stickers.
That is beautifully alliterative. I'd go in that shop. I've never used a window sticker.
But you will after.
But if there's a whole shop dedicated to it.
Peas, Mum, said Doonan.
Peas?
Peas!
What? What's that mean?
Peas,
Mum.
Peas, Mum.
He's fed up with sausages, he's moved
He
on.
wants peas. Maybe he's trying to build a Christmas dinner.
Yeah, he never got fed. So each present he gets is like
He gets
a part of the Christmas dinner.
It's like that bottom episode.
Yeah.
where Richie
Oh,
just-
it's
Okay, nothing stupid, replied Mum. Yo, man.
I love
Real
it.
man.
I imagine he's got a t-shirt with it on, he's really trying to sell it.
Yeah.
Like,
Doonan bought a sticker of a man with a scary face. He stuck it on his window.
As you would.
well,
Or
that is
Wonderful
what you
window
do. Yeah.
The next day, he looked in the mirror to see a scary face. Mum came up. He was looking in the window, not the mirror. The end.
It's that child logic of like, you could get confused because you just see a face when you look in the mirror. So a face on the window, what's the difference?
So thank you very much, Doonan, and his scary sticker.
Doonan Willymonger.
What time is it, Steve?
It's time for This Week The Geeks Have Spoken.
He just needs a special one for
I
the
liked
beginning of the year.
I liked it. That's going to become the new news, isn't it? It's going to get longer and longer and longer, and I'm just going to sit here and you go...
Like full concerto. Percussion in the background.
Yeah.
A big orchestral. And then it's like, look, we're out of time.
People start going up the stairs and joining in the choir.
Or like a cappella.
Yeah.
I just like giving them their due, because without them, we're nothing but free friends. And an attic doing it anyway. No, they're everything. So, I just wanted to give them a nice... Yeah. So stop questioning me and get
I
on with
wasn't.
it.
Thank you kindly for your interactions and reviews and whatnot. Greatly appreciate it. As Scott just said, always we love it. Keep it going. We'll start as always with, and I think well-deserved crown, 3-word reviews. Pete Bushbauer at Popular Outcast,
Been caning them out.
who watched a total of 350 films this year. He was
really?
15 shy of a perfect year, so he said maybe this year. This year.
It's one of them, if he didn't work that out just a bit sooner, he could have hit it, couldn't he?
332 myself.
Whoa.
So he's beaten me.
I just don't count. I should, because it's just a cool brag, isn't it? I might try it this year.
Well, I remember a while ago there was the Quentin Tarantino thing, and it says, he boasts an average of 220 films a year, and we were going, that's a lot. Maybe, I don't know. So it shows you.
I went extra dorky though. When I list my films, I put what number film of the year it was, what number in the month it was, well, how many times I've watched it, so that was my second viewing. What out of 10? Was it on the TV? Was it on Netflix? It just became something far too big.
That's the sort of stuff I used to do as a kid, though. I used to love doing like...
It grew. It just used to be writing them down, and then it grew and grew and grew. I'm weird.
I get that, but if it's one of them where I couldn't just do a list, I'd probably end up doing that and worse. So.
And then loading it on a spreadsheet.
Yeah, I'm too all or nothing, so it's a bit like I'm better off.
You'd have to have quarterly meetings with yourself where we're doing February's worse.
How's your
than last
performance?
year. February's worse than last year. We've only watched 7 superhero movies.
I'm looking at a lot of 7 out of 10s. Are you not thinking about it enough?
What's with all these wishy-washy straight-to-DVD sequels we're seeing here around March? Come on, Scott.
I watched only 3 for the first time this month. It's terrible.
2013's looking very light on film.
So of the 25 that he submitted since we last recorded,
Is your favourite 9 out of 10?
it is, yeah.
It's, even listening to that back, I cackled like a glue. It's the really sincere.
Listening back, it made me laugh because at the time I thought I'd said, "Is that his favourite?" And I went, "Yeah, 9 out of 10." And then I didn't twig why you were laughing. It was only when I listened back that it's like,
we just.
"Oh right, yeah, you said my
you
favourite."
Seem to be captivated by a number that just made us really laugh. 9 out of 10.
So we'll go Spring Breakers. Scott's favourite film, 4 out of 10, or definitely deserves sequels, 4 out of 10. Hashtag for Scott.
Trolling me. It's getting 4 out of 10 though, so he sees what's fucking disagreeable. They could do a fucking sequel because the first film's 10 seconds of footage montaged to folk until you want to kill yourself. Why not just do that for another 2 hours? The only salvageable bit is the Britney Spears bit. Montage. That was good and different, and they didn't repeat it.
I thought I'd chuck this one in. Nightmare Before Christmas with added commentary, 8 out of 10.
Oh,
I thought it was really sweet. So thank you for that one.
The DVD commentary
with added?
with Henry Selick and Tim Burton.
No, he just watched the DVD commentary.
Yeah,
it's really solid stuff.
Legend of Night, incredible, inspiring documentary, 9 out of 10. The Interview, Rogan Franco Perry, 8 out of 10.
Really good.
Yeah.
I'll watch it. We were all going to have to see it at some point just because
It's going to happen.
it's a big story now, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I hope it just doesn't get viewed too harshly.
And I'll try to chuck another one in. Just As Above, So Below, which one I quite fancied seeing, about the Parisian catacombs. It's a sort of found footage, but it just says found footage failure, 2 out of 10. Kind of expected. I'd read a few things that said it had a bit of something different, but
Do you think it's a bit played out, found footage? Or do you think we just needs revitalising a bit?
needs something different.
It still can be powerful, but unfortunately you do have to really, really, really bring us something different.
Yeah.
Because a lot's been done.
I think you have to think of a good reason for it to be found footage within the plot, because it gives it a very similitude, like a realism, but a lot of times it still seems incredibly contrived, because it's like, why is he filming that? Or why is no one mentioning the camera? Do you know, you have to like work its way in. The camera becomes a character, sort of, and I don't think enough quite do that, do they?
No. There's a lot of failures, a lot of flops. They usually outnumber the good.
And just throw in the last one, Tusk, it's fucking twisted, 7 out of 10. So
No, it's
I
kinda,
agree completely with the
kinda.
rating as well, yeah.
I think I went with an 8. It was high 7, low 8.
Oh, cool.
It being Christmas, we were treated to the Doctor Who Christmas episode, and as always, you shared your thoughts, which is great. Tabitha Wild, at Tabitha Wild, said, confusing, slightly less dull than the rest of the season, but could do better. Bex, at Arbitrary Genius, said, I'm concentrating on good thoughts and Avengers tonight instead. Ugh, Clara, but Nick Frost rocked.
I thought you looked terrible, personally, but I didn't watch it, so I can't comment.
I'm surprised by some of these, because I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, at Luke Pietnik, it was great. Inception meets Alien with some John Carpenter's The Thing, plus Santa. What other show can boast that?
Spot on. That's exactly what it was. I just thought, like, its influences have never been more overt. But I don't know, I think the new Doctor's found a rhythm. I think Clara's been a lot better since the new Doctor's in. And as a self-contained Christmas story, I thought it was cracking. One of the better ones. I don't know what people expect from a Christmas Doctor Who, because, you know what I mean?
It was Anthony Collett at Hey It's Ant wasn't excited for it, but it turned out to be one of the better ones of the season, and I'm not sure that's a good thing.
It's had a lot of
people are a bit lukewarm on it at the minute, aren't they? A bit off with it.
I wasn't keen. I've only watched a couple of the new series, but the Christmas I don't
like
know.
it?
Just didn't really do much for me.
Yeah. I don't know.
Unfortunately.
Maybe I'm just susceptible to because I liked
Just
all
got-
the films it was influenced.
It was quite a nice
for it,
idea. Just
But me personally, I have a different gradient of expectation with Christmas specials because it's just chucking something out there for Christmas on a one-off. I don't expect a show-changing event or something stupidly cool. I just expect something vaguely Christmassy and Doctor Who. I thought it was one of the better ones I've seen because it seemed like a cool Doctor Who episode where they explained Santa quite well. But I
Nick
don't know.
Frost was
Each to their own. Each to their own. What did you think? Did you watch it?
yeah. Nick Frost was cool. I just don't know.
Didn't
Just
off
didn't.
you?
Just it was all right. I watched it. It was Christmas. Yeah, I wouldn't.
Fair enough.
I didn't go shouting about it. I wouldn't say it was awful. I saw it. Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Lauren at Elride got a t-shirt. Thanks for the amazing shirt, Bumpy Goose, the laughs, and the geekiness.
Well, thank you for listening.
When did we make you laugh?
Exact episode and time.
We
Come on, wait.
No, we're only joking. Just direct message that because I don't.
At Hey It's Ant, as I was late to the hashtag selfie game, I bought a friend/daughter and sent a picture of him in his t-shirt.
Yeah, a
That
good
was really
batch went out, so I hope you enjoyed them over Christmas. We got
We have genuinely sold now 10 times what I thought we would.
sold 10 shirts.
Wow.
Because
Sold more than
because I didn't think I'd get one.
It was me ordering them the first time, let's be honest. Come on.
Tom as well from Anywhere But Here podcast received his and sent us one on Facebook, so thank you very much for the selfies.
We asked your top 3 best and worst films of the year. Mark Vesey at Kram Yesev. Best Under the Skin, Blue Ruin and Miss Violence.
I've only seen Under the Skin now, which was interesting.
Yeah, I liked it. And Miss Violence, I'm not, yeah. And worst Paranormal Activity, Nymphomaniac and Maleficent. At Popular Outcast, best Guardians of the Galaxy, Frank and Kung Fu Elliot.
What's Kung Fu Elliot?
I don't know. Need to
Is
look
it like
that up.
Billy Elliot meets Kung Fu Vanda?
Wow.
Oh,
The panda who wants to dance.
Yes. I'm on it. I'm
Julie
there.
Walters plays the Dustin Hoffman Small Road. I would watch that.
Totally. Worst Nymphomaniac, Sin City 2 and A Million Ways to Die.
Not
In
much
the
love
West.
for Nymphomaniac, is there?
No. At Arbitrary Genius, best Cap 2, Boyhood and Grand Budapest Hotel.
A lot of people have said Grand Budapest to me.
And worst Sin City 2, Transcendence and Need for Speed.
Sin City 2's getting a hammer in.
Richard Lawrence at Bill L, best Grand Budapest Hotel, Interstellar and Gone Girl.
Yeah, that vibes
yeah,
with the consensus of the year based on what I've heard.
Cool.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And worst Transcendence again, Sin City 2 again, and Horrible Bosses 2.
We'll be hearing more of these from your votes on the awards show in the next week or so. So yeah, we've got some really interesting results there. I've seen them, you two haven't, but I think there's some surprises in store.
You warned me off the email.
Get away from the email, because we've got lots of guests coming on to announce them as per last year.
I like not knowing. I don't know why. It doesn't matter.
No.
I just like not knowing.
It's
It's
nice.
a weird suspense and intrigue.
It was, I'll tell you now, as a little preview to the show, I was watching the votes coming in and some were changing constantly.
Really?
Some ran away with it, but there were some very tight results.
Interesting.
We asked you which games you're looking forward to next year, and I just had to read this one. James Ueri, he's at Artie Fufkin. Mine is Fart Archer Winter Gusts, where you have to do archery while farting behind trees.
If you looked at the tweet that I sent out, it had a picture of Tomb Raider, the new one, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and it has her jumping up from behind a tree in the snowy conditions, and it looks like she's wafting something.
Glad you clarified. I just thought
I saw your response saying farchery.
Farchery.
Just as a fan of punning. I liked that. Just want to sell that while you...
And at Kelly disagrees, says the Order 1886, which apparently is set in an alternative history of London, where an order of knights keep the world safe from monsters who are a combination of animals and man.
Oh, cool.
Which sounds pretty cool.
Mine's Arkham Knight.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Mine has to be Tomb Raider. That's why I picked that picture on that tweet. But yeah, Tomb Raider, I thought that the reboot was just fantastic game. I really like the new Lara Croft, and I'm looking forward to where it goes in the sequel.
I'm also looking forward to the DS version of Majora's Mask, the HD remake. Love that game.
Nice.
No Pokemons this year.
Is there not?
No.
Oh.
I've still not finished to make a Ruby.
Anyway. I'm ending this now.
Thank you
I don't
kindly
care what you have to say about the Pokemon. Join us next week. We will have more goodies when we come with our award show. We'll be reviewing last year, we'll be looking ahead to next year, and we'll be seeing what you, the listeners and the followers, enjoyed.
Why did you go
You went very
weirdly?
Rafiki.
The followers. You are a baboon. Yeah, that. See you then.